Coming up on TekThing, should you shoot video on your cell phone in 1080p or 4K? Pirl might be your last USB charger. Synology DS1618 Plus, 6 bays of NAS goodness, and is your Windows pin secure? All that and more coming up on TekThing. A big shout out to our patrons Jeff, Quentin, Keith, and Joel. Join the crew that makes TekThing possible at patreon.com/TekThing. Thank you, patrons.
I'm Shannon Morse.
And I'm Patrick Norton.
And this is TekThing, where we have something useful in every single show.
Kind of like WWDC's keynote yesterday.
Oh, why do you say that?
Okay, one, just iOS apps being ported to Mac. I'm fascinated, I'm curious.
Oh, shots fired.
I love my iOS apps.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'm still processing the whole, technically it was 2 hours, but I'm going to call it 47-hour presentation. And I wait
That's awesome.
eagerly to see what new hardware shows up from Team Apple later this year.
Well, I'm sure there's plenty of information out there for y'all if you're interested in WWDC, which happened earlier this week from Apple, but we're not here to talk about WWDC today. We actually have a question from one of our viewers.
I will not snarkingly read this email. Martin emailed ask@tekthing.com. Hey guys, I wanted to get your opinion. I have a Pixel 2 XL and the video recording is amazing. But as I was looking at the features, it got me thinking about what is better for a default setting on video, 4K at 30 frames per second or 1080p at 60 frames per second. I like to take my travel videos and edit them in Premiere. I wanted to get your thoughts and preferences. Love the show. Keep up the great work, Martin.
I'm glad he sent this question to us.
Well, one, thank you. Two, you may be the perfect person to answer this question.
Yeah, well, I've been shooting the same thing, travel vlogs on my Pixel 2 XL, and I edit everything in Premiere as well. So I'm kind of like right in the same headspace that you are. So I also have that Pixel 2 XL. Mine is 128 gigs, which is great because it's plenty of storage. I have plenty of wiggle room as far as storage goes, but still debate over using 1080p 60 frames per second or 4K at 30 frames per second, which is the highest that you can do. So for starters, those fancy 4K videos that you usually see at like retailer TVs and demo videos at conventions and stuff like that, they're probably being shot at 4K at 60 FPS to give you that smoother quality feel, and they do look absolutely amazing.
They're also shot with cameras that cost more than most people's houses.
Yep.
And you know, they might, 2-minute demo video might be $500,000.
Which we don't have. I mean, we're using what, an $800 to $1,000 phone, depending on the space that you decided to purchase.
But the pictures you took in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, incredible.
Yeah, but it's not just, you know, it's a phone, it's a camera, it's never.
So you can totally get good video out of it and be able to edit that in Premiere, and I do that all the time. So 60 FPS is going to be better for faster paced shots, like action sequences with cars, or action sequences with sports, or if you want to get really gorgeous water flows, like faster 60 FPS would probably be really good for that. 30 FPS is better for non-actiony videos. If you want to shoot architecture, if you want to shoot scenery or up-close macro shots of really pretty flowers and like animals and stuff. Even travel videos. Personally, I shoot mine in 30 FPS at 1080p. But you will lose some of that smoothness. You're also going to gain in size of video files. And I say that because 4K is really, really big in size.
So it's 4 times the number of pixels.
Yeah.
Is it 4 times?
It's pretty much 4 times the size too.
Oh boy.
It gets huge, yeah. So I usually end up spending maybe 5 minutes recording a 1080p 30 FPS video file, and that'll be 100 to 200 megabytes to give you an idea. A 4K video at that same size is going to be stretching really close to a gig, and it's going to be taking up a lot of space.
Amazing.
Keep that in
how
mind.
Small a 128 gigabyte phone is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So what are you going to play the videos back on? Personally, I don't have a 4K TV, so I'm not really worried about it. If you do have a 4K TV, you will probably want to record in that 4K video content so that you don't lose any of that quality whenever you're playing back your video files for your friends and family. 1080p is totally fine if you're just playing it back on a smartphone because you're not going to notice a difference such a small form factor. Now, how much storage do you have? Me, I have 128 gigs. If it's a small amount, then no question about it, 1080p at 30 or 60 FPS is best. If you have lots of storage, 4K 30 FPS option is probably going to be your best bet because it's also future-proofing. So how much time do you want to spend editing too? You're editing in Premiere. Editing 4K is a lot more time consuming because the exported video is going to take longer to render, and scrubbing through a timeline could be kind of jittery or laggy if you have an older GPU on your computer.
Are you saying 4K, the number of pixels, equals a significant higher drain on resources?
It's gonna take a much longer time to edit that video. I can speak from experience. So that's kind of inside baseball terms, I know, but he'll totally know what I'm talking about there. Yeah. But really, shooting in 4K at 30 FPS, that is going to be future-proofing, and I think that is the most important quality and factor if you're considering shooting in 4K. Do you want to future-proof your videos, or do you mind shooting in 1080p at 30 FPS or 60 FPS? 30 FPS is still very beautiful, and it is very close to the most common frame rate in movies and TV, which is 24 FPS. Unless you're Lord of the Rings, Hobbit style, and then you're going like 48 FPS, I believe they did, which is crazy. But that's why it looked a little weird whenever you watch those movies.
And if you're on the 24 frames per second, you old school technology, we understand.
Yep.
Feel free to email.
Oh yeah, totally. So again, if you have that storage space and you have the editing rig specs for it, I would totally shoot in 4K. Of course, it all comes down to personal taste. Again, like if you have the personal taste for it, you want to future-proof, go 4K. If you don't have the room for it, you don't mind shooting in 1080p at 60 frames per second, you're still going to get beautiful quality video, and it might be faster to edit.
And it's not just storage on the phone.
That's true.
You have to take the video off the phone eventually and leave it somewhere.
Yep. Don't forget you do get those free Google Drive backups from video and photo from your phone. But of course, if you want that extra backup, having something else is.
Or you don't have a Pixel.
Yeah, or you don't have a Pixel. So for everybody out there who doesn't have a Pixel phone, might be important to have one of these in the background. So let us know which you chose. I'm really interested to hear what other vloggers out there and other people who are using their phones for video are choosing, whether it's 4K or 1080p. I would love to know. Comment below, or you can tweet at Snubs or ask at TekThing.com. We totally love reading your emails too.
Speaking of storage and NASs, for most folks serving media doing basic backups, a simple 2-bay NAS is an excellent place to start. For a hair under $300, this critter right here, a Synology 2-bay DiskStation DS1618 Plus, your data is mirrored like on both drives. So if one fails, your data is safe on the other one, and you're going to sip power compared to recycling an older PC. This one comes with Synology's DiskStation Manager, which is their operating system that runs all their NAS boxes. And it is the best part of Synology hardware.
Yeah, it's amazing.
You know, stepping things up, going to a 4-bay NAS is a huge difference. This is the DS418 Play. Huge step up when you start serving Blu-rays, masses of photos, storing terabytes of 4K video.
4K videos from your phone.
Yeah, or just running local backups from your family's machines to your NAS. So 2 more drives means more storage and, more importantly, better drive protection options by doing variations on RAID. We love NASs.
We do, yeah.
We love the storage.
I believe both of us own Synologies in some way, shape, or form.
Yes, for a short period of time, I had 3 Synology NASs sitting in my house last week.
That's too many.
Well, the one I was running, the one I was testing, and the one I was testing it against. You know, every so often somebody asks, do you want to test a monster, a beast? And we smile and say, yes.
Yeah,
yes, please.
We do.
Which brings us to this monster, which I was holding up before, the DiskStation DS1618 Plus.
Wow.
Which I wanted to tell you right now is a healthy $791 bare, which is how a lot of enclosures are sold. Bare means no drives inside of it. So it's packing 2 more drives and two more Ethernet ports and costs $368 more than that 4-bay DS14 Play. And that's before you spend another, say, $750 to load it up with, that would be 4 terabyte Western Digital Red drives.
Assuming you don't have those sitting around for some reason.
Assuming you don't, right? You know, it came loaded with 2 8-terabyte Seagate drives in SHR. That's Synology's hybrid RAID, and that's one of the things. I don't want anybody at Synology to be angry with me, but this is kind of like Drobo, where you throw drives in it, it does a really good job managing it. So that, it can, instead of doing like RAID 1,
Yeah.
it'll do the Synology hybrid RAID with 2 drives.
Okay.
And then as you add more drives, it configures itself to deal with parity data. So a 6-bay NAS, definitely a hair beyond your usual home router, engineered for high performance and data intensive tasks, designed to meet on-the-fly encryption and scalability demands. So this is something for professional photographers, small to medium size offices and businesses. Case in point, writing to the NAS, I was like, I'm benchmarking away, and I'm like, oh yeah, the performance is pretty much capped by Ethernet for single machines when you're doing file transfers. Gigabit networks, theoretical maximum like 125 megabytes per second. For massive files, I capped out at 108 megabytes per second. Pretty much the same as the less powerful, fewer drives, the 5-drive DS1618 Plus. And by the way, Synology, they're basically going to replace their 5-drive NAS boxes with 6 drives in their lineup. So.
Cool.
When you're looking at capacity, this thing's pretty out of control. You can load it up, you drop in the drives here and it gives you the parity data, basically the overhead. So if you happen to have the bank for 6 12 terabyte drives,
wow.
you will have, that's 72 terabytes in drives, 60 terabytes of usable storage space.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of storage. If you're a wedding photographer, that might be,
absolutely.
June in a bad month. And
if you're a video editor.
Oh my goodness, that could be Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, if you don't want to use Synology hybrid RAID, which we generally stick to, RAID 0, RAID 1, RAID 5, RAID 6, RAID 10, RAID 50, and RAID 60. The 4 Ethernet ports and the 16 in the model number are kind of the most telling. You can add 10 more drives via 2 5-bay DX517 expansion boxes.
Wow.
That's a lot of drives.
Yeah.
And the additional Ethernet ports are for link aggregation. So if you have a compatible router, and the best case scenario is let's say you're backing up and I'm backing up and Bob's serving a file and Nancy's uploading a file, what'll happen is if it will allow you to move data over all 4 of those Ethernet ports, kind of separating us all out. So instead of all of us crowding into one Ethernet port, we all get our own Ethernet port.
So we're not going to end up throttling each other.
Bingo.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, there's
That's
also
really
the expansion port on the back. You could add in, say, a 10 gigabit Ethernet card,
Nice.
which would be really awesome if you had a 10 gigabit Ethernet card in your workstation.
Yeah.
The DS1618, 1618 Plus, it looks like a Synology NAS. It's a big black box. Same chassis as the DS3018 XS with a less powerful processor, easy to use lockable drive bays, screwless for 3.5-inch drives, or screws in the box if you want to go crazy with SSDs or 2.5-inch drives. There's a USB 3.0 jack on the front, but you need to go into the DSM to use it. There's no one-button backup. You can't walk up with a thumb drive and make it safe. Tons of ventilation, 2 big fans in back, lots of ventilation pulling through the front. Even in my terribly hot closet, it was fine. You can control it via internal temperature or manually in the DSM. There's 2 more USB ports in the back, so you can use it with a compatible uninterruptible power supply or add drives. And there's those 4 1 gigabyte Ethernet ports. Again, this isn't going to copy your files from your desktop faster unless you, say, have a 10 gigabyte card in your desktop or you're running multiple LAN ports.
Yep.
Probably not likely. But someone out there does, and they'll be emailing about there. The core of this really, though, is the DSM, the Disk Station Manager. It's the real prize here. They have an online demo, which I'm showing you right now. Link in the show notes. And for me, the really, really cool thing is the third-party apps. Plex. Is obviously a big one. There's tons of stuff you can run on there. What's crazy for me is they actually now have an Office that you can run off of this.
Really?
90% of the time I'm just using the Synology drive. The 1618 Plus can run VMs with Synology's Virtual Machine Manager.
That's cool.
Transcoding up to 1080p. There's no hardware 4K transcoding. But again, this is more Office, less home media server. Not the fastest CPU out there. If you want that, you can spend a lot more money for the 3018 XS. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up? Yeah.
Thumbs up. For the vast majority of normal human beings, for example, like me, the DS418 Play is a good way to go. And look at the Value series in the Synology lineup.
Ooh.
These all have the super awesome operating system. Oh wow, they've got an 8-bay version in that one. Let's just
cool.
Scroll that back. Because the children, they got to go to the dentist. But yeah, I mean, NASs are amazing because as soon as you have one, like you start by serving media and then you're backing up files and then you want to back up everybody's files and you do automated backups. Then you can realize you could run like, a BitTorrent server off of, or excuse me, a Resilio server, or it's just.
Yeah. There's a lot that you can do with these. You can even set up like security cameras and have them back up and use this as the drive storage for all the video files.
2 licenses in the box with that one. They also have, Synology does dedicated security camera NAS boxes.
Yeah, they do.
Which a friend of ours is running one with, I think, 42 cameras into it right now.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. That's
Yeah.
cool. So cool.
So, you know, this is like, this is very fast.
Yeah.
It has all the expansion. It is awesome. The vast majority of us do not need it, but you can spend, you know, half the price, get the same operating system and a lot of the technology in a 4-bay NAS.
Yeah. A little bit too much storage for my needs, but man, if I was like a wedding photographer working with my files at home, this would be perfect for that.
Good stuff. Got an Ask question? Email ask@tekthing.com, because really, any excuse to get into an operating system on a NAS, it makes us happy. We love your questions, your tips, and your suggestions of products and ideas to check out. Please tweet at TekThing, at Snubs, or at Patrick Norton, or just email us, ask@tekthing.com. And a big shout out to our patrons at patreon.com/TekThing. Y'all pay the bills, you make the show possible, and frankly, we are grateful. Thank you, patrons. Join the crew that makes TekThing happen at patreon.com/TekThing. And hey, patrons, let us know what you'd like to hear in our special patrons-only podcast this month. Did you catch the last one? If you haven't, patreon.com/TekThing. Go check it out, listen, tell us what you think. We're looking forward to hearing from you. What you got? What you got? What you got?
It's Pirl. It's called Pirl.
It's just not going to fit in the setting for me.
Oh my gosh. Today I'm taking a look at the new Pirl Charger. It's over at pirlcharger.com. So this just happened to be given to me by the creator over at Maker Faire. He was running around Maker Faire and so was I. So he was like, hey, check out my product. And he basically just threw it at me. So it's going live today on Kickstarter, which is perfect timing. So I was like, we should probably review this on the show. So you can get on Kickstarter currently for around $45 or so with just the Pirl itself. If you want it with a couple of different adapters, that's going to increase the cost around $69. So if you are interested, you can grab it on Kickstarter before the price goes up to the MSRP price, which it will be after the Kickstarter ends.
And having recently had 2 Kickstarter projects crash and burn, or at least finding out about it in the last 10 days or so,
right.
I would like to point out that that is essentially a finished functional project.
Yeah, it is,
product.
Which is really cool. The device that I'm showing you today is from their first lot run with the manufacturer, so chances are that the final version is going to look, if not almost 100% like this one with the same components on the inside. So the reason that I wanted to mention it, you know, you might just look at it and be like, cool, another charger.
Wouldn't I
Yay.
spend 20 bucks less and get the Anchor one off of Amazon?
Yay, right? Exactly. Like I thought the same thing. So I started looking into it, and the whole reason that it's special is because of how it manages charging with the different voltages and everything. So it's a fast 4-port USB charger that allows you to get 2.7 amps per port, which is 10.8 amps total, and 50 watts total. Unlike some multi-port chargers, this one maximizes the power draw for each port to 2.7 amps if needed for a device. So each port is independent of each other, so they don't end up sucking the speed out or throttling any of the other ports, and speed doesn't slow down whenever you start adding to it. So if you stick, for example, like 4 fast charging phones in it, all of them are going to continuously get that fast charge, which is awesome because a lot of times you'll get a product in the mail, another charger, USB charger, doesn't do that.
And it's literally architected so that the complete sort of voltage or the amperage, each port gets its own discrete kind of chain of components to provide the amperage to it.
Yeah, exactly. And they're independent of each other. They're optimized to the speed requested by your device, so they're kind of intelligent too. So if one does fast charging but the other one doesn't, it's not going to continuously send out that 2.7 to both of them. It'll send out the correct current for each of those different devices. So it intelligently like scans your device to figure out how much amperage each one needs. Now, since each of these charging channels is separate, if you get a short on one channel, for example, it's not going to affect the others. All it's going to do is shut down on that one channel instead, which is also really nice, so it will protect your device. It's built to withstand electrostatic discharge, overcurrent, dead shorts, reverse polarities, which can totally happen, and thermal overload as well. So it's got all sorts of protections worked into the inside of this device.
It's basically a tactical USB charger.
Yeah, it is. I was actually thinking sticking a Wi-Fi pineapple in here like a tactical would be perfect, because that requires so much power, and this would power it no problem.
I was just thinking
like,
tactical,
whoa.
like I'm going to be a Navy SEAL, recon
totally.
Marine, high-speed operator.
And mentioning that too, a lot of USB chargers, they're plastic. This one's made out of aluminum, so it's really, really tough. It's cold to the touch because it's made out of that aluminum and FR4, which is this fiberglass or glass fiber epoxy laminate. It's basically the most popular PCB material that you're going to run into whenever you're purchasing PCB material parts. It's also got a built-in watt meter with a display on the front.
I love that part.
Yeah, which is so cool, so that you can see how fast your device is currently charging, and I'll give you some B-roll of that so you can see a close-up while I'm testing some charging as well. I love the fact that I can watch it change over a period of time, and it's very steady. Of course, wattage is going to change just a little bit over the periodical time that you're charging a device, but for the most part, it stays very, very steady with that current. My Pirl came with a charger that's 100 to 240 volts. It's 1.5 amps input with 15 volts, 4 amps, 60 watt max output. The nice thing is the Pirl can accept anything between 7 volts to 17 volts, which is great. And you can also use it with an AC/DC adapter like the one that they included, an external battery, solar panels if you wanted to take it out camping with you or something like that, or a car charger as well. So, and I believe they are going to be producing some car chargers in the near future, so it's possible that those will be purchasable as well with the component too. So it's kind of a perfect travel companion in a sense, especially since it's so lightweight too.
Well, I mean, it's like you got access to a 12-volt battery. As long as you have the plug, the barrel plug for that, you can splice it into whatever you can get your hands on. I think it's pretty awesome. Yeah,
it's totally easy to use. And the barrel connector is just a universal barrel connector too. It's the same one that we used to use for our Wi-Fi pineapples. So why would you use this as opposed to another one? Yeah, so the device creator was thinking about tech heads like us who need fast charging for multiple devices on the go. It's 4.5 ounces, like I said, it's lightweight, so you could easily stick it in your pocket. You can stick it in your bag, in your backpack, wherever you want it. And also, anyone at home that uses Raspberry Pis or similar single board computers, you could totally build a cluster of Pis with this, because it will power all of your Pis to the point that you need it to without them shutting down. And you can get that ample wattage that you need to plug everything in without like taking up every single wall port in your household, which I run into that problem all the time in hotels. And then I just have this one USB charger hub, and the thing doesn't charge everything fast like I want it to. So this is a great replacement. I really like this one. So I wanted to show you a demo of what I was doing at home to give you an idea of how I was able to test this. I have this little thing called the USB voltage and current tester, and we're gonna get some close-up of this so you can watch it in action. But I basically just plugged it into any of the ports, and it shows me automatically that I'm receiving 5 volts and 0 amps because it's not drawing current to any kind of devices currently. I also have the brand new OnePlus 6 with the dash cable that it comes with, and if I plug this straight into my USB voltage tester, you'll notice that it starts drawing amperage. So I'm currently getting about 0.46, and then it goes up 1.4, 5 volts. So I'm getting that current stream of 5.15, 5 volts. Now I'm getting 1.4 amps, 1.46 amps. And it goes up and down.
You can literally watch the battery charging cycle change by the controller on the phone.
And while this is happening on the USB converter, or the USB tester, I'm also seeing the watts on the Pirl Charger, and that's a steady 7.7 watts, which is what I was expecting.
So there's the LED built into that. Is that for all 4 ports combined, or will it do individual ports?
Let's find out, shall we?
Dun, dun, dun.
So I'm going to plug in my phone now, and this is also going to show you that when I plug it in, it's not going to throttle the OnePlus 6. So I'm going to start charging my phone. All right, so now both of them are going. The wattage says 14.9, so we're receiving the wattage for both of these ports at the same time. And with the USB checker, or the tester, plugged into the OnePlus 6, I'm still receiving 5 volts. And when amps pull up, 1.45 amps. So it's not throttling either of the ports, which is wonderful. And I was able to do this on all of the different ports, changing them back and forth between port 1 to port 4 with the same experience for each of the ports. So I know that each of them are intelligently separated, so they're not doing that throttling issue that you receive with a lot of other USB chargers. So do you want it? Do you think it's cool? I would absolutely consider this charger to replace my current multi-port USB charger because the technology adds to the safety. I love the aluminum casing because it's not going to get damaged whenever I'm transporting it in my backpack, for example. And it's also protecting my devices at the same time while giving those speeds that I want and that I expect from the chargers that I'm purchasing. So I really appreciate it, and I think it's worth the cost as compared to the cheaper ones that I normally buy on Amazon.
Well, I would say the cheap ones are pretty good. I mean, I've been using an Anker one for several years.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned before, like if I'm running multiple Raspberry Pi 3s where it actually is demanding 2 amps plus,
Exactly.
it is nice to have a device that small that can supply the amperage for everything you can run into it.
Yeah. So pirlcharger.com, that's where you can check it out. The Kickstarter just started today, so of course you won't receive the device for another like 30 to 60 days, depending on when they ship the products out. But I gotta say, I'm very pleased with it, and I think that this is one of the few occasions where I saw a Kickstarter and I was like, okay, you're handing me a real product and you're trusting me with your reviews, so I'm trusting that you're actually going to come out with the device. And I think that it's a very, very good device, and I'm really happy to see how far they've come with it.
I'm gonna back it.
Yeah, I think I will too. It's cool. So check it out, pirlcharger.com, and let us know what you think down below.
So a buddy of mine over at my house saw me using the pin in Windows 10, blew a gasket.
Oh no.
Literally, like I could hear his hat hitting the ceiling and then hitting the floor.
What were you thinking, Patrick?
Exactly. How secure can a 4-digit code be? Okay, first thought, do not let your friends stand behind you when you're entering passwords.
Yeah.
Especially that kind of friend. Second thought, the Windows 10 pin, way more secure than I'd thought. First up, it doesn't have to be 4 digits. That's Microsoft's minimum pin spec. If you want to make it more passwordy, go to the start menu and type in password, and you get change your password, and you can go into change your pin, and look, you can include letters and symbols.
Oh, nice.
And if you want to type in an 8-numeral pin in there, or something like your favorite. Whatever. I don't care what you want to put in there. Whatever you want to type in, whatever you want to type in there, and you are good to go. That said, 4 digits is actually pretty solid if your buddy isn't looking over your shoulder memorizing keystrokes. And if I hit cancel on this and I close the menu, you can actually see the pin number is actually physically tied to your device.
Oh, so
Literally.
It's locally stored. Interesting.
Yeah, it only works on one device. So don't use the same PIN number on all your laptops and desktops.
Yeah.
Because if you do use a different PIN number for all your laptops and desktops, they have to guess a PIN number for each one.
It would be harder for me, a hacker, to come up to your device and assume that you're using your birthday on all of your laptops as opposed to just one.
If your PIN gets sucked up by a keylogger, it won't work on other hardware.
Yeah.
Unlike your Windows password, which will give them access to every machine you have access to.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too. And while we're on the topic of talking about good password practices, I know we've had like whole segments about passphrases and passwords. But make sure that you're not using something like 0000 or just starting with 0 on your PIN, because that's most likely to be the first one that's guessed. 1234 is insanely popular, so is something like 9999. Continuous numbers, the same number over and over again. The same number as your bank card or birthdays, because birthdays are easily social engineered out of websites like Facebook and Twitter, because your birthday is probably on your Twitter account. So seriously, make sure that you're using good pins if you want to use them. I use pins too. It's totally fine as long as they're secure. And make sure that you're keeping your hardware secure too. Access to your hardware makes a hacker's life so much easier. Trust me. How do I know? Guess. Hardware hacks take literal seconds to complete. So, for example, if you leave your computer on a table and you just walk away while grabbing the coffee from the Starbucks pickup window when they call your name, and hopefully they spelled your name right, that's enough time to run a USB rubber ducky script on your computer. I could just walk over and plug it in, even if it's locked, and unplug it and walk away before you even noticed. And nobody's going to pay any attention because nobody cares. So that's a big issue when it comes to your hardware. Make sure, like, anytime you're out in a public environment where you can't trust the people that you're around, you take your laptop with you and you just go over there and pick up your coffee and then go back to your table. It's okay. It's not going to weigh that much.
No.
Take it with you.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry for the rant.
It's a good rant. So we're talking about Windows pins. So it's tied to the hardware.
Yeah.
So it only works with one machine. So the pin is local. It's not actually sent over the network. So it's literally that much harder to grab. And it's also tied into the Trusted Platform module.
Oh, yeah.
That literally makes it, well, it doesn't make brute force attacks impossible, because I don't say anything's impossible in security anymore, but it makes it really, really hard because the TPM automatically locks out for a time after a set number of guesses, and because it's independent, you can't like reset the clock or do any of the things you might normally do to circumvent lockouts in software. Windows, it's also kind of crazy. It can use keys created by the crypto provider in the TPM without actually copying them to system memory, which means all sorts of malware will be that much more frustrated. The TPM can do things like receive a shared key but not allow copies. In case you haven't picked it up, I am now mildly fascinated by the Trusted Platform module, and we'll try to keep that to myself for the remainder of the show. 2 random thoughts. Seriously, if you're running an enterprise, it does not have to be 4 numbers because admins can set requirements for complex pins when they're administering their machines.
Which is cool.
Yes, and Windows Hello, even before it does biometric recognition like fingerprints or facial, it requires you to generate a 4-character pin. Again, that's the minimum. We showed you how to make it more complicated. You may be wondering why, in case you lose your face or your finger. Really?
Yeah.
I mean, literally, that's the reason. Well, I mean, imagine if you were trying to unlock your computer and you had a bandaged face or you lost that digit.
Yeah, totally.
Sounds ridiculous, but they actually forced you to have an alternative way to access the machine if you're locked out.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I just thought that was fascinating. And also, if you're running BitLocker with the pin, like, don't lose the number and your face and your finger. Just saying.
Yeah, that would be bad. Let us know if you have any questions about Windows security or other operating system or iOS or like Android device security as well. That's something that I'm deeply passionate about, so I love sharing the knowledge with everyone out there. Ask at TekThing.com, or you can tweet at TekThing.
We want to give a quick shout out to Hack5 for the studio space. If you haven't been there, what are you waiting for? Go to hack5.org and check out the Security and Privacy podcast. And then, ladies and gentlemen, head over to hack5.org/gear and you'll find superior pen testing and USB automation tools. Seriously, if you haven't played around with a rubber ducky, I'm just going to say, just get a rubber ducky. They're awesome. And that's Shannon's hands. It's, it looks like a flash drive, types like a keyboard. If, at the very least, get one before April Fool's Day next year.
Yes, that's a good idea. And remember, once in a while, put down your phone, step away from the screen, close your laptop, and do something analog, like go to New Orleans. It's amazing. Yeah, I just went there on a little trip over the weekend. It was just a little weekend trip, but oh my goodness, I had such a good time. You can check out the amazing architecture. You can eat some amazing Creole gumbo, which I gotta say is incredible. You can go to the St. Louis Cemetery number 3. It's free and open to the public, and oh my goodness, it's just beautiful. Like, just reveling in the cemeteries is amazing. You can be like me and take selfies in a cemetery because you're weird and morbid like that, or you can just...
in your flowered dress.
Or you can go antique shopping down in French Quarter. It is amazing, all the incredible stuff you might find. I found a grandfather clock that cost $200,000. Ridiculous, but it was from the 1600s, so no surprise there. You can go on a riverboat cruise. Like, there's just so much that you can do in New Orleans. I had an absolute blast.
Your Instagram friend was doing a lot of these photos.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, my girlfriend Leah, thank you.
Sunset
shout out to Leah.
Pose, framing.
She's like, do that, but put your arms like this. And I was like, okay. Oh man, she's so good at those Instagram pictures.
Gonna go back?
Oh yes, I can't wait. There was so much that I didn't have time to do. Swamp cruises. I went on a ghost tour. That was really cool. But I want to go on more tours. I want to see like all the amazing things to see. Like there's just so much to do. The culture, the live music.
I just want to go there and eat and listen to music.
Yep. Get some beignets, which I got 3 helpings of. Yeah, I did. I went there. I'm sure I gained like 10 pounds of weight. I don't care. I don't care.
Why wouldn't you? Beignets.
It's a food baby. Yeah, delicious.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Shannon Morse.
We'll see you next week on TekThing. Did you see any music while you were there?
I did, yeah. I went to this excellent bar. It was called the Spotted Cat, I want to say, on Frenchman Street. So amazing. Like good, like Dixie jazz type of music. There were saxophones, there were trumpets. Oh, so good. There was an amazing piano player, and it was just live music, and it was so crowded in the place, but they had good beer and good music, so I was pretty satisfied. And right next door they had a night market, so you could go and hang out and just like check out all these local jewelry and art makers and like all these people creating incredible like paintings of New Orleans.
I didn't go to fashion and accessories when you said night market. I was thinking like love potions and you know.
Oh, I went to one of those too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got a little pendulum.